So happy the second that started, a plane started flying over my head. It's like you couldn't have timed it better. Hi, welcome to After the Hype. I don't remember what my intro used to be for this thing. That's how consistently we record, so you know, it's a rare occasion. Welcome.
It was hi everybody, welcome to After Hype with me, your host as always, Brian, and also with John or whatever. Like you had a whole spiel and you said it so fast.
You know, it doesn't feel right anymore. It doesn't feel organic anymore. It used to be organic. Now it's not. So hi, with me, your host always, Brian. With me is John.
Hi.
There it is. This week we have Joel and Kelly from one of the other ones that we've done.
For what it's worth, every time I had to do an intro, it's basically, hey, we're here.
Yep.
Now let's do this.
Is such a podcasty intro. Hey guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Like and subscribe. Like it's very
hit that like bell and subscribe for more content from After the Hype.
Get that bell on. Sorry, that was very how ridiculous of me. So hi, you know, we all went through something last week. Not sure where people land on this thing, but I'll be very, very transparent with where I land on it. Fuck Trump. Fucking sucks that we have to go through this shit again. Not excited about it at all, but we do run podcasts, and podcasts feel like a version of escapism for me. And I thought, what a great thing to talk about at After the Hype. Because, you know, when you think about escapism and kind of dealing with shit, you don't really go for new shit. That's not what escapism. You go back to your comfort foods. You go back to the things you like, things that keep you sane. And what a better topic for After the Hype than shit that we used to enjoy. And I'm playing the hits, man. This is everything that I used to be super into from 2016 to 2020. I'm going right back to it, and I'm excited for it. If that's the only thing I'd be excited for the next 4 years, so be it. I will deal with
God,
that.
it'll get us through.
We're also still at a point where we are part of the Target nostalgia targeting campaigns. It's like T-shirt aisles are all our stuff, Nickelodeon and, and Ninja Turtles and stuff.
Very much so.
It'll still be our year. How about
Oops.
Hey, you olds, you like turtles? You like them turtles? You olds?
Ye old.
Ye old Ninja Turtles. Like it's, you know, it's time for that sort of stuff. Like I'm reading the news, I'm seeing that more people are canceling their Thanksgiving plans to go home than ever before, and people are like, but why? It's because you voted against everything that I care for. Lots of good reasons to not talk to people you used to care about. More reasons to dive into bullshit that doesn't really matter but makes us feel good. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Stuff that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but it makes me feel good for right now, and I'm all about it. But I'll do a quick temperature gauge. I know John's more apolitical than I am, so he might still be feeling somewhat more sane. I know Joel and Kelly lean more my way, so I'm not sure where everyone's at, but how is everyone doing? Oh boy, that's shit. I just clink my glass a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of whiskey, but you know, it's the right amount for a podcast.
Woof.
I will say that the second go round, you sort of have a mindset of, well, it's like setting the expectations. It's like, yeah, a hurricane's coming, but at least we know it's coming and what category it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically.
I mean, it's a hurricane. Things can go crazy, you know.
Yeah, they can go crazy.
Yes, but we try to categorize things so we can have some kind of comfort.
What'd they call it in Twister? The original Twister movie? What'd they call it? Like a T4?
F5.
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 Or F5.
Yeah,
oh.
F4,
Yeah.
F3, yeah.
Which they still call them that in Twisters, but it's a little different. I don't remember what they changed it to, but you know.
Yeah, it's something different. But
Yeah.
Did you see Twisters?
Of course I did. It was sick.
Okay.
It was great.
Good.
All right.
I saw the trailer for Twisters in that 4DX theater, and that was enough for me because that theater tossed me around and sprayed so much water on me. I was done.
Listen,
I was done with the movie before it even started.
There is a shot of Glenn Powell coming out into the rain in his tight white t-shirt, putting on a cowboy hat that got a legitimate laugh throughout the entire theater I was in. And the laugh turned into woo! And it was, people were very excited to see him. You'll know what I'm talking about when you get there. It was in the trailer for like half a second. It goes a little longer in the movie, but it makes the movie, like if the movie was like a 6 out of 10, it definitely bumps up to a 7 out of 10. It's a good shot. He's a good looking guy. Good for Glenn Powell.
You go, Glenn Powell.
You keep being a good looking guy. Good for you.
Hell yeah.
But John, how are you feeling? I know I spoke for you a little bit. That wasn't very nice of me. But I know you're more in the more apolitical realm. But you're still feeling good, I hope?
For the most part, a lot of the negative stuff, if you will, is stuff that's before political things, before the election and all that. Work has been very trying and very testing on my patience this year. So I'm already coming at it with depletion. So, yeah. So in this case, all these things are kind of replenishing me, or just keeping me distracted, because it's all kind of in this low thrum of numb, if you will. It sounds pretty dire, but I've also just been like, it's been a year.
Wait,
and then
dire?
another year happened this past week or two. You know,
you sure it's a little dire? Listen, man, as far as I'm concerned, like, the Great American Experiment might have just ended last Tuesday. But we'll find out. I mean, I know that's very explosive. How dare I? But we'll see. I'd love to be wrong. But let's lean in. Let's kind of dive into this thing. I'm going to get us going. So what we're going to do today, I know After the Hype used to be strictly movie reviews, and then we kind of turned into Behind the Hype, more people reviews. And then we started coming back a little bit more infrequently with just kind of things that we're doing a little bit after the hype. And this is sticking more in that vein. As I said earlier, we're going to talk about stuff that I consider escapism, stuff that's kind of fun. It can be heavy, of course, but it's a thing that's going to take you out of where you're currently at and kind of put you in a more pleasant headspace, somewhat you're more comfortable with. And I got 3 things that I'm going to bring up just right out of the gate that this is what I used a lot. Back in 2016, this was kind of like my go-to stuff of, man, Trump did what? That sucks. Oh, I'm going to go do this right now. And it just kind of helped me it's like an emotional shower, if you will. First and foremost, the thing that I love the most, I've always loved the most, and it gets expensive and it gets annoying. So I've been taking a break for the last 4 years, but time to rev up that engine again is comic books. I know that seems very immature for a guy almost in his 40s, and I know there's a lot of reasons to not like comics. Like I said, they're expensive. They're more expensive now than they've ever been. To read one story, you usually have to read about 4 or 5 different stories, and it gets very frustrating. So I'm going to try to be nice, and I'm going to give you just one recommendation as opposed to what I usually do when somebody asks me for a recommendation, which I recommend about $1,000 worth of comics and say, good luck. So I'm going to give you one trade, and it's by Tom King. I love Tom King. He did an excellent run on Batman, although people really turned on him there at the end, which was kind of a bummer. But did a very good run there. Did a series called Hitman that was very, very good. But he just seems to know these characters and really want to tell compelling stories with them. And he told a great story with Supergirl. And that Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow is the name of the trade. You can buy it. It's very, very affordable, which is great because you can buy it for like $20 in $1. The art is absolutely gorgeous, but the reason I'm recommending it, beyond the fact that this is what they're using as a blueprint for the upcoming Supergirl movie, whenever that comes out, is because it takes a character that we all know at least surface level. Even if you've never read anything or seen anything with Supergirl in it, if you see a woman with a red skirt and the S on her chest, you can pretty much guess that's Supergirl. So most people at least know who she is. This is a different story. It's a different approach. It takes place with Supergirl going out to celebrate her 21st birthday on somewhere with a red sun so she can actually get drunk. Like, because I want to take a load off, and if I do on a yellow sun, I'm going to heal too quick, I can't get drunk. So I'm going to go somewhere with a red sun, and I'm going to get fucking wasted. And that's what she does. And she goes out and has a great time. But while there, she gets kind of drummed up into a story where there's a revenge story. Someone had their father killed. It's very sad, and they need to hire someone to go get that revenge for them. The person they hire, not very great. And as they're trying to like steal the money from the woman who needs help, Supergirl's like very hammered. Is like, well, hold up, buddy. No. You're not going to do that. And she kind of drunkenly kicks the shit out of him, which is just phenomenal. And then she gets swept up into it and she joins the revenge story. And it's this very kind of like, you can see why James Gunn was into this. Knowing James Gunn movies, knowing that this was the comic he picked, it's like, oh, this works. And that's about as far as I'm into it. I'm only about halfway through because I kind of take my time when I'm reading these because I get lost in the artwork because the artwork's very good. That's it. I'm going to highly recommend it to everybody, even not having finished it because that's how good it's been. Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King. Check it out. The next thing that I'm going to talk about before I get to my third one is what I consider some of the best escapism out there, because it's usually the most creative thing you can get into. And Joel will know exactly what I'm talking about here, because I've dragged him down this lane a whole bunch. Horror movies. Horror movies for me are I'm even wearing the Exorcist shirt right now. Like,
Yeah, I
saw
that.
I love horror films, and horror films for many, many reasons. One, I'm a lover of cinema. I have, multiple podcasts about movies, and I work for a film company that I can't name. But I love film, and I always have. But when it comes to creativity in film, I don't think there's anything better than horror films. Horror films, they get kind of a blank check. No one really considers them high art, so no one really pays a lot of attention to them, which means they can just go ham. They can go nuts. They can figure things out, see what works. They can be Phantasm. And like, Phantasm's a movie that on paper doesn't make any sense. When you watch it, it still doesn't really make any sense. But it's engaging, and it's different, and it has a really good look to it. And you can get lost in this world, and you can get obsessed with Reggie like the rest of us. Joel, back me up here, right? Right?
Yeah, I mean, he's the best final girl.
Must concur. Yes, must concur.
But there's also something that another side to the horror that why I'm bringing it up specifically in this context is escapism and all this other stuff. Because even if you don't like horror films, if they're too much for you, they're too violent, too scary. Like, because I personally right now, I think the best film of the year is The Substance. If you haven't seen The Substance, I highly recommend it. Phenomenal film. It's gross as hell though. I get it, and I get that watching it can kind of turn your stomach and it can make you a little. But there is something about watching those movies in a theater full of people, and that something is community, and it's something we're going to need a lot for the next few years of find your people. And when it comes to horror people, more often than not, in my experience, granted, I'm sure there's a lot of people who disagree with me, they're usually very good people, and they just, yes, they like some fucked up shit, myself included. But they want to talk to you about it. They want to go like, oh, what made you want to leave? What didn't work for you here? Like, that sort of stuff. Like, I had the most enjoyable conversation about Terrifier 3 of all movies with a friend at work, because she thinks it's the worst movie ever made, and I thought it was okay. And like, even being that close to each other, we could still be like, all right, what worked? What didn't work? Oh, this grossed me out. Oh, I didn't really mind that much, but this was too much. Oh, that was nothing for me. And like, those conversations are fun, and you can really bond with people over them. And it's largely what I think Binge Buddies has been so successful for us, because we can bond over this absolute insanity, and you can really see.
Well, and it's hard to be divisive over a horror thing, like you just said.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't like it. I liked it. Well, here, let's go in the middle and find out what worked and what didn't and all that, instead of, I didn't like it, the end. I'm going to go, see ya.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about horror films, is that there's something there. Almost always. I just watched Tarot the other night. Tarot sucked. That was just bad all around. Skip Tarot. But I gave it a shot. Like, I was like, all right, the kid from, he plays Peter Parker's best friend in the Spider-Man movies. He's in it. How bad could it be? Bad. It's really, really bad. But it's still like, it was worth a shot. I enjoyed watching it. And even then, knowing it was just a pure dog shit film, again, really bad. The character design was actually pretty cool. Like, the way they take the things that are on the tarot cards and bring them to lives. Those designs were actually really fun and interesting. What they do with the design, almost nothing. They just punched it in the face really close, and it screamed at you with the exact same scream every time. It's a really bad movie, but there was still something in it that was enjoyable. And like, I've found that to be true of the majority of horror films. So take, for example, Joel and I are both on Binge Buddies, and we're doing all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies right now. We just watched Freddy 2 not that long ago, and Joel sent us a GIF when he finished it of just something going bad, bad, bad.
Yep, you certainly did.
And I don't disagree with Joel at all. I don't think it's a good movie.
It was prematurely used.
Oh God.
It got worse.
It got worse.
It can get worse.
And we're still not done with the bad ones. We got one more bad one. Like,
Enjoy.
it's been a rough ride on Binge Buddies.
Yeah, awful.
This has been a rough series.
I
on
await
Binge
those
Buddies,
images.
but they're still fun to talk about. But my best example is 2. Because 2 might be an absolutely terrible movie, but there is something very interesting going on in it when it comes to the representation of gay people in cinema, especially in horror. and like the fanfare that the lead actor has gotten, like there is something to chew on there, and you can really dive in. There's a whole documentary made about it, and everyone agrees the movie's okay at best. Like even if you like it, which I don't, I know Joel doesn't, I don't think anyone on the show did, but we could still be like, it was still interesting. There's still something there. And that's how I usually feel about almost every horror movie out there. Almost. I mean, there's, exceptions to every rule. But I'm going to finish things up with something fun. The last thing that I'm going to bring up, if you didn't know, there's a film called Paddington. Paddington 2, third one's coming out soon. That are these, like, absolute heartwarming, joy-filled movies that are they're just nice. They're nice, but they're also impeccably well made. Like surprisingly good movies.
They
Yeah.
might be the best.
So
movies.
amazing.
Yeah,
they
right?
really are just perfection.
Couldn't agree more.
Oh my god.
Where that came from is what I'm pitching. It's a show called The Mighty Boosh. If you are not familiar with The Mighty Boosh, it is this completely absurd show from England from mid-aughts, I want to say. Maybe early aughts, like 2002, 2003. It stars Noel Fielding, and I always forget his name. Julian, I can never remember his last name. I'm a terrible fan.
Shame for shame.
I know, I have the wrong thing loaded up. Hold on. If you listen to Binge Buddies, you've heard me do this on almost a weekly basis. Julian Barrett, I think, Barratt, and Noel Fielding. Noel Fielding, Great British Bake Off, if you know, he's one of the hosts on that. The one who wears all the goofy sweaters. When they were young, they made a show together called The Mighty Boosh, and it is, I can't even begin to describe the absurd nonsense that is this show. But it is impossible to think about anything else while this show is happening. It is just completely ridiculous. And the only way I can really think to show that is just by showing a clip. So that's what I'm going to do. It's a little long, it's about 4 minutes. I apologize for a 4-minute clip in a podcast. Hopefully the sound works. If not, then wow, this is a really boring 4 minutes. But we can talk over it as we usually do. So here we go. I'm going to load this thing.
You're
up
now listening to a clip from this show.
From this show. The name of the clip, just so... Do we have something else you want to say real quick?
Oh, if this doesn't work, I want you to spend 4 minutes narrating the events of the clip.
Solid maybe. All right, we're gonna add it to stage. You can see that there's the clip. Yep.
All right.
Yep. Hold on. I'm going back.
Now it's gone.
I'm going back. Now it's gone. Oh, okay. Yep. No, I remembered how to share sound. Yep. I didn't before. It would not worked. And then Joel had been telling me to narrate and yada yada yada. We don't want to live.
Hey,
with
you
that,
know what? It's
so.
podcasting, the video kind.
Here we go.
I did in that one. I call that one.
Can you guys hear it?
Greg.
Yep.
Yes.
And this one.
Okay, great.
Know what I call that one?
Old Greg.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I got some more. I got these two. That one's Bailey's. And that one's Bailey's. a bit
Oh, Greg.
bigger. And that one's as close as you can get to Bailey's without your eyes getting wet.
That is quite a portfolio you've got going on there. But I really should be heading off, so it's been good.
We could do some more things together. You and I.
Well, that sounds like great fun. Let's do it in the week there, Greg.
What do you mean?
Well, you free Thursday at all?
Why can't we do it now?
Well, you know, I'm a busy man. Man about town.
I'm just going to turn it down for a little bit while they're talking, just so I can talk over it a little bit easier.
Do you love me?
If you're not familiar with what's going on here, there's an old man fish, lady man fish, called Old Greg that he has been kidnapped by, and he is now being.
It doesn't really work.
How does it work?
And Old Greg is he
you
wants him
ever
to
love
love
me?
him, and he's
Know someone, you hang out,
you can tell it's not working.
see where that goes, this, that, the other, eventually, you know.
I'm gonna turn it back
Is that
up
like
because it's about to get good.
seaweed on?
Yeah, he's
I'm
made a
assuming
seaweed.
that's what it is. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's seaweed on him.
Lives in a sewer.
An express.
Yes,
Closest Bailey's as you can get without getting wet.
without your eyes getting wet. He,
Greg, I don't know you.
Oh, you know me. You see my downstairs.
trying to talk while this is happening is almost impossible. This is such a ridiculous nonsense.
It's hard not to get wrapped up in this.
No.
Oh yeah, old Greg
I'm
is one of my
impressed
favorite
by
characters
how
of all
long
time.
they can hold their eyes open wide like that. unflinchingly.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know you are. You've told me 89
So apparently these two guys had a huge argument over who got to play old Greg, and Noel Fielding won because Julian was a much better straight man to old Greg's nonsense. Oh, here we go.
The way I dealt with Curly Jefferson.
You know what, Greg? Maybe I was a bit hasty there when I said I didn't love you. Perhaps now in this night with you in the tutu and the water playing off your seaweed, maybe I could love you. Maybe I was lucky because when you do love someone, sometimes you say you don't because you're playing hard to get, playing a game.
Games?
Yeah, I was just playing a game with you.
Love games?
That's right, love games, Greg.
Yeah, this show's a musical. If I didn't lead with that, here we go.
Do you love me? Are you playing your love games with me? Just wanna know what to do 'cause I need your love a lot.
It's a very funky
It's
beat.
very
Yeah.
tricky.
Games with me. Just wanna know what
This is bringing me back. This is bringing me back.
Being a Mighty Boosh fan when this came out was difficult, because you'd want to reference it and no one would have any fucking clue what you're talking about. Not that it's much better now, but my god. The amount of times I've shouted, "I'm old Greg," and have no one know what I'm talking about is almost too many.
The problem is I see this when I watch Great British Bake Off. So like,
Yes. Yeah.
so I'm seeing this. I'm like, why isn't he doing this during the Bake Off? Do you love those scones? I do.
There was an episode where apparently a guest asked him, "Have you ever had Bailey's from a shoe?" And he just laughed. Like, this is so good. There it is.
Is that series music heavy?
I'd say most episodes has one song in it. Never too much more than
Okay.
one, but there's usually a song in it.
Okay, because I was
Song
in a
is
little
a-
Flight of the Conchords there. But
Oh, they tried desperately to do a crossover when they were both on TV because they are very close friends. So yeah, you're right on the money there.
okay.
Yeah, in fact, like Rich Fulcher works with both of them all the time. So like there's a lot of crossover between those two and with the both fandoms. Yeah, that's all I had. That's where I'm at for my distractions. I think all those are pretty good and distracting and very fun. I know I talked for a while. I tend to do that. Someone else.
We all enjoy the video together.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's. Did I at least pique your curiosity? John had obviously seen it, but Joel and Kelly, I think that was your first old Greg encounter.
Indeed.
It was my first.
Indeed.
Do you love it? Do you love it?
Great.
Yeah.
Is it great? You should watch some more of it, please.
Send me some more clips.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Where is it at? Do
Hulu.
You know if
You
it's-
can find the whole thing on Hulu.
Hulu, huh?
Hulu.
Yep.
Okay.
Do we still have our Hulu account?
Yeah, we've got Hulu.
All right,
There you
let's
go.
do it then.
It's time for Mighty
I love
Boosh.
that exasperation. Oh, we still have Hulu.
I brought it up to do it on Binge Buddies before, and then I'm like, I don't know how. There's no narrative. It makes no sense. Like, and that's part of the joy. But like the first season, they're zookeepers. The second season, they are not zookeepers anymore. Like not even remotely related anymore. They're doing their own thing. And then the third season, they own like a record shop. It's like wildly different every time. They don't even bother explaining it. It's just like, no, that's just where it takes place now.
It's just
All the same characters. They're all just moving together. It's ridiculous. I love
It
it.
would be hard to talk about sustained for like many episodes just
Yeah.
for that reason alone.
And then
You
like
guys would
it's
be like,
just
well, so this is new.
every week. I can't say I like the growth here. But it's funny and like it will legitimately make you laugh. And you know, not every episode's gonna be a winner. You can't when you're that random every time. There's gonna be a few episodes of like, all right, that one didn't work for me. But I still think the whole show is worthwhile.
Okay.
So go watch
right.
it. Report
Well,
back. Tell me what you
yeah.
think.
We'll do.
Yep.
You
All
have
right,
homework now.
Let's John, how do you feel about let's go to Joel or Kelly and then go to you and then go back to Joel or Kelly.
Sure, yeah.
We'll ping pong back and forth between the Midwest and the West Coast.
Me or you?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it. Okay, so I have this thing where if I get into a funk over anything, I will binge watch the hell out of a feel good TV show. Usually, sometimes it's The Office. It just so happens right now I'm into a show called Doc Martin, and it's a British dramedy, I guess you could say. Takes place on Port Isaac. It's known as Port Wen, but it's actually Port Isaac. And so it's about this doctor who comes down with a fear of blood. And so he's a surgeon and all of a sudden develops this like hemophobia. So he moves to this little remote island where his aunt was, it lived, and he spent most of his summers there and everything. And set up shop as a general practitioner. And so it's this whole thing about this very serious
Pompous.
yeah, pompous, yeah,
Stuffy.
man, stuffy, good, just a brilliant man, but just very, very arrogant. And but I will say, he's a lovable character. It's the craziest thing. He's just got this way about him where you can tell he's a good person, but he's yeah.
He's pretty despicable.
He's not
in
the first. He's not despicable. He's just. I don't know, misunderstood. I guess I really don't know. The man has gone through. Some
I don't want to
stuff,
interrupt,
so,
but I need to throw out there. I'm really enjoying that you and I both went to early 2000s British. Like, we both went to this exact same spot.
You can't go wrong with that. I mean, it's
Yeah, apparently not. Like, I went 2003.
can't go
You
wrong.
went 2004.
You can only go weird.
Yeah.
So no, this show is just brilliant, and it's funny, and it's just, it has a lot of warmth to it. But it was a show that spanned over the 18 years. They kind of they went through a chunk, and then they took some off, then they went back, and so it went from 2004 to 2022 and all that. So it had this.
There were 10 seasons.
Yeah, there were 10 seasons or series, and so it was like this big, deal, and it's just it's just a great show. It's great, feel good fun, and it's nice to see something that's not America, because it's almost like it takes you off of everything that's going on here and thinking, wow, there are so many other better places you can be in this world. So it kind of takes me to that.
The magical land of Britain.
Yes, everything is magical other than here.
God, if Matt ever listens to this episode, he'll never let it go.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll take the blame for it, but
it is that.
I mean, I started it.
I did.
It's that sort of fish out of water story. This stuffy, big town doctor going to the country bumpkins. And learning how to live amongst them.
Yes.
And be it's like Schitt's Creek.
That's essentially what it is. It's like Schitt's Creek, like the British version of it. But
it does what a lot of these good shows do, where over time the actors really get comfortable in their skin as these characters, and then it shows in how well they act together. But there's also a lot of humor they're able to pull from the well of the characters they've made too. And it is nice to see a show where the actors understood what they're doing and how to best leverage the characters too.
Yes.
Where are you watching it?
It's actually we used to have Acorn, but I actually got them on DVD. I found them on DVD through Amazon, so I got the whole series, the whole complete series.
We're saving money by owning it rather than
God, yes,
Hey,
but
owning media, that's a thing you can do.
Yeah, I know. No, it's fabulous, but that is my favorite. That's probably my favorite show of all time. It ranks right up there with like the Dick Van Dyke Show and other shows that I watch constantly sometimes. And it was like recently I started Are You Afraid of the Dark and like Goosebumps again, because it's just a place I can be and feel better. So, and that was always my favorite show growing up. So yeah, no, but that's my happy place more than anywhere else right now. Probably is Doc Martin. So, yep.
My entire system just died.
Oh,
My computer survived, but everything else on me just died.
I heard a noise.
I
It didn't sound
heard
great.
a noise
So if
too.
we start
So
seeing
did I.
smoke
It was
from
very
that
loud
thing-
here.
Yeah.
And then everything turned off.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, it's still
seems
on.
like you're
How
still
about that?
here, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just my speaker setup, but whatever. Turn that off. We're gonna let that stay off for a second. All right. You still had something else though, right? It wasn't just the one.
Oh yeah, my crocheting. Yes. So I have gotten in the last couple of years into crocheting, and this is the strangest thing that just sort of happened randomly. But I got into the woobles, and so now I've learned how to crochet and do just random fun little things. I can take a few hours and just make the happiest, cutest little thing. I made Snoopy. I made Woodstock. I made a dragon. I made a couple dragons. I made a whole bunch of stuff. It's just, I'm actually getting a Woobles advent calendar. So every day in the month of December, I will be crocheting something else. So I will, through my next 4 years, be crocheting the shit out of everything. So
Can I
if
make
you
a
have
request?
anything, please send it my way.
Yeah, I have a request too.
Can
For
you
Bradford.
crochet a little phantasm ball?
Oh my god, I probably could. I'd look into it, but I bet you money I could be able to do it. I'd be able to pull it off.
That's my
You
request.
should crochet a Nakatomi Plaza for Matt, since you're doing all British stuff.
That's a lot of crocheting.
That is, hey,
a little tiny one. A little tiny one. A
Yeah.
little tiny one.
I'm good with it. I'm good with requests. I'm good with whatever. Just throw it my way. I will look into it and figure it out.
If
Set
you're
up a
ever
Patreon
desk
for
owner-
it.
Yeah.
If you're ever a desk in our home, your desk bed will be made out of crocheted.
Oh, yeah. I have
Yeah.
all kinds of everything. It's just nuts. But you know, it is a healthy
You
addiction.
you have great outlets for self-expression.
I really do. I do. I don't smoke. I don't really drink that much.
I don't drink much at all.
I
Yeah,
just
me neither.
I just I just need something, damn it. I need something, and that something is my crocheting. Just give me my crocheting needle and my thread or my yarn and leave me alone. That's all I'm gonna be doing for the next 4 years.
Don't bother me. I'm crocheting.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's one of my many things, and it just so happens to be something I'm very happy with. It's very quaint and charming and fun.
Well, I expect to see a phantasm ball now. Fully expect to see it. We'll be
It's on-
disappointed if I don't.
It's there's recorded evidence that you've committed.
I absolutely
You,
am all about this. I can do this.
Now we need a
I've got
follow up.
this.
I was
Yes.
gonna say,
Time
like,
to schedule a
how,
follow-up
how
for, like,
long
how
did
many
we
months?
yell
Like-
at Joel to read Dune, and he still hasn't read Dune?
I opened the shirt. That's
I
I
was
actually
gonna
read
say
Dune.
he opened the book.
It's in the laundry to be washed. So
Are you that close to finishing the
I'm-
book?
No, but I'm
No, he is not.
But he's-
Oh,
So,
but
would-
on I just have to throw this in here really quickly. On the topic of incredibly good books, I just read a book called Doctors from Hell, and it's based on the doctors of the Holocaust and the Nuremberg trials. So if anybody is looking to
For a pick me up.
to
Yeah, for a real knee slapper.
Yeah,
like,
you-
Jesus.
it's not a knee slapper, however,
you know,
it is.
sometimes it's nice. sometimes it's
a knee stabber.
cathartic
It's
to
it would,
kneel and dive deep into the darkness.
Yes,
and look at the shadow.
it's not a musical comedy, but it is something that you can look. It's history, and it's brilliant, and it's amazing, and I have to throw.
Can
that
you
out there.
imagine if it was a musical comedy?
Oh my god. Well, I mean, look at the producers. I mean, they do you know that Springtime for Hitler, that was actually seen as by the Jewish community as being extremely offensive, and that whole
Springtime for Hitler? Are you sure that was offensive?
you would never know, right?
Springtime
but
for Hitler.
the Jewish community really had
Winter for Poland and France. That song?
Yes, that it was taken in such a comedic way. So, but yes, that's definitely incredible about the Nuremberg trials and Vivian Spitz's accounts and her take in her part in the Nuremberg trials. So, good read.
I'm not going to read it. No way.
That's not going to be my escapism.
Yeah, check in with me in 5 years and recommend it again. If we're in a better place, I'll check it out. Right now, I'm good.
I didn't say you should rush out and do it right now. I'm just saying if you're ever in the
that'll be our next our follow up to this. Our grounded episode, our grounded and bummed.
It's like I could read that, or I could read something a little bit more uplifting called the news.
Ooh.
No, but the thing about that is the doctors and that they got their up and coming, so it was
At least
good
there's that.
at the very end.
At least there's that.
At least there's that.
All right, let's move on to John. John, what you got some dragons and some dungeons and some sky with no men, and some angels.
Yeah, no men in that sky.
Some angels and some buff. Right?
Yes.
Did I get everything? I think I got everything.
You did. You did. I'm gonna start
horribly
with
described across the board, but I got there.
What a segue.
That's what I'm here for.
The segway's rented, but the battery's dead. So I've been into Dungeons and Dragons for a while now, as attested by the show that I DM. But recently they came out with a new edition, sort of a pseudo kind of in between 5.5 edition. The one in 2014 was the 5th edition, and this is considered to be 5.5. The big thing, and it's kind of been taking up all my time as I run it for other people, is just it's way more organized. I actually decided this time to get the custom covers for collectors, and so you've got like this kind of like sheen dragon thing going on.
Very
kind of nice. Yeah, and they just recently came out with the Dungeon Master's Guide. The main goal has been to organize everything, to clean it, to streamline it, and to make it more newbie friendly. And that's kind of been really awesome to see. As someone who is a little bit more, I wouldn't say OCD, but things that aren't as organized kind of bother me in terms of reading the book space, systems and all that. And the 2014 Player's Handbook is notoriously all over the place. Same with the Dungeon Master's Guide and all that. And it's hard to bring new people in on this because you're like, well, where do we start reading? Not chapter 1, weirdly enough. And yeah, it teaches you how to play the game. It gives examples, and having read through it, it's made running the game easier for me. So that's kind of been one of the main things that have been has taken up my time, is basically moving to some of these newer rules, teaching people how to play, having fun with it, and it's been kind of all encompassing. That's kind of the main thing that has taken up most of my year. Most of the remainder of the year. It's only been kind of near the end that this came out, but it's been really fun. And when you guys eventually get into my game, I can share it with you guys eventually.
There's something about tabletop gaming that like I am extremely interested in it, but never willing to make the time for it. And that's entirely on me. Like the few times I've done it has been some of the most fun nights around a table I think I've ever had. And then it's like, I should do that again. When? I guess I'm not doing that again.
That is the big thing with tabletop in general, just across the board, is It is a time suck. It is it's an all-consuming thing by design. So again, why I would naturally go towards it in these of times, but you have to make time for it. And it's so easy to have an excuse to not do it. It is just, I might have a cold today, or I need to read this thing over here, this article tonight. You know, any excuse works. It's hard to get a game going, and that is the most difficult thing about the game. But it's been really fun. The other thing would be No Man's Sky, which is a little bit more recent in that they've been doing these expeditions. I think I got that right. It's like the season thing, but you'll do a bunch of different quests through like 5 different stages, and at the end you'll get a bunch of cool stuff. And they just recently allowed cross save, so my Xbox gets the same save stuff as the Steam, and if I had PlayStation, it would do that as well. And they just restarted, or they're allowing you to redo the expedition that gets you the Normandy as a frigate for your missions and things. So I'm on the way trying to get the Normandy
from Mass Effect. If people don't know,
yes, the Mass Effect ship, and so I'm on the way to get that. And I've put so many hours into No Man's Sky in general across the years that I'm done playing the game. I've gotten my fill of it, but these things keep bringing me back, and they keep taking all my time. I'm sorry, Metaphor, but like, I would finish you, but I got to get the Normandy. I missed it the first time, and I've got 2 weeks. I've got less than 2 weeks, maybe a week left to get it, and it's not just simple things. It is like I have to go here to this planet and get this stuff. Oh, but I need this stuff as well. Over the years, the game has become a very good main screen and a second screen scenario game. And that if you need something to occupy your time that you can grind at and maybe watch something else, and just, hey, I'm going to get some materials. Great. It's kind of, it can fit into any one of those slots in terms of your activities and fill up the remainder of it. And I kind of like that. And it plays brilliantly on Steam Deck. So that's how I've been playing it.
I do love the Steam Deck. I haven't turned mine on, and it's officially been over a month since I've played a video game, which is weird.
I do have to give you guys credit for the recommendation for a Steam Deck. I haven't been able to put it down, and I don't have to put it down because I can take it with me.
Yeah, goes where you go.
No, it's pretty great. And now, last on my list is Buffy and Angel. I have never watched the full Angel series before. I've watched Buffy seasons 1 through 7 a few times, but I also never watched them in their order. I just kind of watched them after the fact. And so this year, through most of the year, I've decided to watch Buffy and Angel side by side as they aired. And doing just, I picked a general order, and Angel doesn't really start till season 4 of Buffy. And it's been interesting. There's not a lot from Angel.
How far in are you? Because that's how I tried to watch Buffy, and it pushed me off hard. I never finished either because of it.
I just finished season 5, I think of. Season 5, the one with Dawn. I just finished out of Buffy.
Okay.
And then I'm on season 3 of Angel.
Okay, so you've passed me because season 5 is the season that starts with Dracula, right?
Yes.
It was a brilliant episode of like, oh shit, you're Dracula? You're the guy! I'm gonna kill you, but you're the guy! Like, it's a great episode. But like that season's where like both that and Angel, like the trying to do the duality of it, I'm like, I'm done. Like I was really enjoying this, but my God. There's only so much like angsty melodrama I can take.
Yeah, it can be a bit much, but it also means that it lasts longer because I'm not super binging these just because the general gist is kind of every other for the schedule I'm using. I went to a website that was like, here's the order you should, and I'm just following that because I don't really care.
I wonder if we
I'm
watched
mainly there for the simple crossovers. Whenever Faith shows up and bounces back and forth, things like whenever Angel visits, especially kind of at the end of this, like where I'm at now, there was a little bit of crossover, and that was fun. But it's also the end of season 5 of Buffy is a rough one, just emotionally so, because you have The Body, which is probably the best episode of anything I've ever seen in a long time. That is it didn't get easier to watch. And then you have a few episodes dealing with the arc, and then the end of the season, which is, I'm not going to spoil it in case you haven't seen it, but it is intense. And by the end of it, I've taken a break for a couple days just because I need it emotionally, because it is a lot at once.
But Buffy is I'm not a huge fan of Angel. I watched it because it was going with Buffy, and like, okay, that's enough to get me there. But Buffy, it's a solid show. I have a lot of trouble going back to pretty much anything Joss Whedon made nowadays. It's just kind of tough, like knowing how horrible the women on these shows were treated. It's tough being like, but look at how good you were in the show, and it's like, at what cost? Like, so it's a little, especially like anything related to like Charisma Carpenter and like seeing everything she went through. It's just like it's horrible.
Yeah, I think that's still to come. Like, I don't think that's season 3, but I think the trouble started in season 4, if I remember right. I'm kind of bracing for that.
I honestly don't know. It was whenever she got pregnant. I mean, that's
yeah. I think that's when. I've been also like, I follow along on Reddit every now and then just to see like what the discussions are, and people are very heated about these. And they mention that season 4 is when it all goes bad, like when all the bad stuff is. So I'm like, okay, I'm bracing for it.
It's a bummer because like when you first start Buffy, like it is a very good show. It's entertaining. It's well done. But yeah, I've never been able to go back, which I should. But so far,
yeah, it's interesting going back because things that I didn't think would work as well work really well, and just there is a strength to all the writing that I haven't seen it in a lot of TV recently, and it's been very frustrating. So to come back and have it, what is the name of the episode? I think it's Hush, where they basically, it's a silent episode. Everyone's voices gets taken away.
That is a good episode.
And they prove that they can write a really amazing bit of television and capture everyone's character essence without anyone speaking whatsoever throughout the entire episode. And it's great. I had forgotten how good it was, and that stood up. You know, some things like the not the Institute, the thing in when she's in college, the big military thing, that stuff still doesn't work very well, and a few other things get kind of cheesy. But by and large, the episodes that are real bangers, as the kids say, still bang.
What kids say that?
I don't know. I might be 2 generations behind on that.
But you're not wrong. So, like the show, when it works really well. But you got to remember, back in that time frame, we all loved Joss Whedon because of his writing. Like, it wasn't because we thought he was a cool dude. It's because he wrote really, really well. Like, yeah. So that even tracks. The writings, he was a scumbag, but still probably is a scumbag. I don't know. But like,
even Jane Espenson was pretty good too. In later seasons, as she starts to come in, there's a lot of good characterization for everyone. It's it's been able to take me away from things just with how good, like, it takes me to a different time. And since there's 21 episodes a season and everything's on this structure that they did, like, I'm used to that structure. That structure is ingrained in me from the past, having watched all that stuff. Just like, episode 7 is a big one. Episode 13 is a bit, like, you can kind of get invested in the world. And just as someone who's coming from the now of being frustrated with 6 hours of television for every 2 years, this is kind of feasting, even if it's feasting on older things. So.
Yeah, I get that. I wish I could go back. I honestly don't think I could. Like, there's some people that haven't been able to go back to their stuff, like whether or not they're fuckheads, and some reason his just bumps me more. But I can go back and watch the Avengers, so I'm not perfect either.
I should throw that in because it's kind of been where I've been going in watching all that stuff. It just kind of is what I have them, and they tend to be the things that are in the, I don't know, the core memory in terms of quality of things, and just in a place in my nerddom. They're kind of big, and so to revisit those and to have those still be something I can latch onto emotionally and everything has just been kind of like really helpful.
Well, it's nice having shows you can actually go back to that aren't dog shit. Like I have famously gone on record many times saying Lost is one of the best shows ever. I tried going back. We can't go back. I'm sorry, Jack. There's no going back. It's not the same show it was. Like, it's still fine, but it's not what it was. Like, being in the heart of it with the fandom is what made Lost Lost. And now trying to watch it as it is, it's like, this show's fine. Like, it's fine. Whereas, like, you go back to Buffy, like, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to, but I've gone back to episodes here and there. That's an incredibly well-written, well-acted, well-crafted show. Like, say what you will for the fuckheads who made it, it's a good show. Like, you go back to, like, Rosemary's Baby. It's a great example. Phenomenal horror movie. Absolute fuckhead who made it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that. I honestly don't. If you want to boycott it, I understand. If you don't, I understand. I don't know the right answer.
Yeah, I will say one final thing on the Buffy Angel front, and it's unfortunate because it's on Hulu, but they've never given Buffy and Angel the remaster treatment in any sort of good way. So throughout all the episodes, you can see that they forced it into 16:9 from a full frame, because you can see the gates for the cameras on many establishing shots. And some of the more emotional shots in the episode, The Body, you can see that gate as well, or a microphone on the side. Or in editing, you can see someone talking over here on the sides.
Oops.
And it's lip flap. It's not matching because they had a shorter frame. And it is so unfortunate because other shows got the better treatment. What's that?
Like, do you have like headroom kind of like this for like everybody? Just kind of a little bit clipped?
In the early seasons you do. And they didn't remaster the special effects in the first 3 seasons. They just pasted them and blew them up on a frame. So it's Buffy and Angel have been kind of screwed in their early DVDs in terms of any sort of fix, release. They're just going to get lost to time.
I mean, as I've been mentioning, it's going to unfortunately stay that way because people don't touch Joss Whedon stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's not coming back around. If his name's attached to it, nah. Unless it has an Avenger in it, and then you might be okay. You might.
Well, it has a Pedro Pascal in one of the episodes.
That's one episode.
4.
If he was Buffy, let's talk. All
right,
let's
so good.
Let's wrap this thing up. We've been talking for nearly an hour, and Joel hasn't had a chance to talk about any of his stuff.
That's okay. I enjoyed.
Oh, look at the time.
Oh, okay, then great. I guess that's about it. I haven't had dinner yet. It's time for me to. No, go ahead, Joel.
So, it goes back to the comfort space. The safe space zone of things that make you reminisce of simpler times. And I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to gaming, when I'm going through it hard, the best thing I can do is find something where I feel like I can make progress in. So
sure.
Back in 2020
From Software
COVID,
games, right? So that's why you play From Software games?
2020.
Yeah, From Software? Yeah.
Sekiro? We're going to talk about Sekiro? I love Sekiro.
Armored Core 6 to contend with, but yeah. Good. It is a very good thing. But 2020, it was Animal Crossing. Everybody was stuck in their house. It's like, man, this stinks. Life feels like it's on hold.
Let's sell some turnips.
Yeah.
Oh, we became turnip fiends over here in this household.
Same
every
here.
Sunday morning, it was like, get to the market, get to someone like, buy low, sell high.
Yeah, we sure did.
I've never once played the game, but I knew that turnips were a thing, so I could make a joke.
There were people that had websites that would track the highs and lows on average day over day, and then people who would offer to let you in on their island to buy at their peak days. So
that was crazy.
That people had too much time on their hands. Yeah.
Yep. You would also build guardrails from your airport, so that way it's like you had to funnel the new people into your place so you could make sure they didn't ruin anything or explore or wander too far, and it became a thing.
Right.
It really was.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it's surprising, but it probably shouldn't be too surprising. So, in that vein, one of the games I was made aware of is called Satisfactory. Satisfactory, you are a space traveler arriving on a barren planet with some alien wildlife and stuff. You find out eventually that basically you're not there just to explore. You're there to bring samples back so you can see how you can sort of terraform the planet so that humanity can come in and survive. The main crux of the game is that as much as it's about exploring the world and gathering resources from animals and plants and stuff, you're building a production factory. Like you are one of the main things you're doing after setting up a base. There are these different veins of iron or limestone and such, and then you will build a miner for that, and then you'll actually build a conveyor belt to like a smelting unit that will melt it down into raw iron bars, and then you can have it go through a machining machine that will then turn it into screws and have it all going in these production lines. And you know, a very satisfactory part of playing these games is your ability to start from the hitting things with the hammer to collect resource slowly, and then spending on an upgrade, to making it simpler and simpler to gather those upgrades so that you can move on to the bigger stuff that you're making, right? And being able to do it from that to where I'm at right now, which is I've got multi-lane tracks going from 3 or 4 different veins into this one, and then it gets branched out into 3 different machines that produce 3 different components from it, and then going through these checklists of things to build from it. And it's a really great loop, and it scratches an itch that I have where I feel I need to be making something, and it's very fulfilling in that way. I think if it was just factory production line manager sim 2025, it wouldn't have the same kind of hook. It'd be really dry and boring. So the alien aspect, the being an astronaut and exploring the stuff, is the perfect kind of breakup where it's like, okay, I clearly have ran out of things to build here. I better go find something so I can find new things to build with the discoveries. So just that perfect mix between adventure and constructing stuff for that.
Sounds
Very
solid.
similar in feel, based off what you said, to No Man's Sky. My experience with that, the things you're saying you're doing, and that kind of those joys that you're getting from those progress and pieces that just kind of keep adding on each other. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I've got it too. My little space guy's doing stuff too, just in a different vein, as it were.
No Man's Sky is a lot more heavy on the exploration side of things, I think.
Yeah.
Where this is very micro by comparison. Like you are,
but still it has an added element of being a sci-fi thing that can kind of like get you doing these mechanisms over and over again without it being dry. So yeah.
Right. Similarly, Minecraft is my other thing to talk about here today. Minecraft is a game that I never really gave a chance until recent years. It was never I have anything against it thing. It was more this is not the type of game I want to play. I'm not really into the survival stuff. I don't really care for the way this looks, because I had to have the super serious 3D graphics that looked hyper realistic, and which was like browns and tans back in the PlayStation 3 days. So but Minecraft, everybody knows what Minecraft is, so I won't go into deep explanation, but I will say that gaming is a fairly central tenet of our time spent together, sometimes to our chagrin. Like I spend so much time doing games, and then I'm being asked to share esoteric knowledge about the old days of video gaming from one of our sons who wants to be a Nintendo historian. I guess
he really does.
It's a cool job.
Yeah. If he can make a living, if he's happy, then that. Anyway,
There's sound like such a dad.
Yeah.
As long as you can make a living, son.
Oh man, what time is it here?
Yeah.
Dad o'clock.
Minecraft, for the phase I'm at in my life, is great because on its face it is painfully simple. You swing at something to break it, to build things, to break bigger things, to build tools, to break more things. And keep doing that loop. But a few things that have been different is that in the iterations of times I've played it, I've gotten much more adept at the actual exploring part of stuff. So I would too commonly be, the dwells too greedily and too deep kind of mindset of getting deep into the mines and getting into really treacherous stuff that you can't escape from. But one of my sons, especially, we've played together over the past month or so, and what I'm coming to find is that he has this encyclopedic knowledge of the game itself, but I'm not a chicken and am willing to go and explore places. And so our strengths sort of work well together in that aspect. So been all around great experience with that. It's one of those that are to be sitting in my rotation off and on, kind of like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing when I need it. But yeah, those are the kind of things that I'll pick like 1 or 2 games and really dive deep into them, just to really sink your teeth into it.
Yeah.
But,
nice. That used to be Persona 5 for me. I think 2024 will be the first year I don't play Persona 5 since it came out, which is weird. The only reason I'm saying that is because I don't have a lot of time left in the year to play a 100-hour game again. So I don't think it's going to happen this year. But,
Yeah, even if you wanted to, I don't think you could, given how much time that has to take up.
Yeah. Like,
Brian,
I mean,
is that your favorite game?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't think I have a favorite game. Like,
Okay.
I've
think
thought
Persona
about that
5
for
is
a while.
close to it.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Whatever that favorite game is,
Yeah,
I think it's close.
Definitely one of them. But like between I basically when people ask me what my favorite game is, I'm like either Atlas games or From Software games. It's one of those two. It's really all I play anymore, for better or worse. Because when I do play other things, I'm like, oh, that was really good. Why haven't I played that? Because I'm probably gonna play a From Software game again.
A fun game would be to try and come up with Brian's top 20, but we come up with it and see if we can't either figure you out or solidify your choices.
I'd be so curious.
I think there's something behind that. Yeah.
Like, if you think Persona 5 is my number 1, what would my number 2 be?
Sekiro, probably.
I can't argue with that.
But then again, you also have lots of movement.
The fact that you
your
both
favorite.
said that is like, oh shit, there's something there.
But hey, these things change. Like, you can go hot and cold. Like, it would be interesting to try and figure it out, or at least make a sort of we guess what it's going to be out of things to come.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
But you're right. Everybody has their sort of tell or their preference in the thing. For me, it's beat 'em ups and fighters. So it's like it's always easy for me to go into a Street Fighter or Streets of Rage or something like that if I need to go to my safe space. I have not. Persona 5 is the only game I've heard so many people say, I have played this 3 or 4 times, this 100-hour game, and I'm thinking about picking it back up again. Like, it's incredible the pull that thing has.
I have done vanilla Persona 5 3 times. I've done Persona 5R 3 times. So that means at least 600 hours of my life have been in Persona 5 or Persona 5R. At least. Probably more.
I've been considering getting 5 and 4 on the Steam Deck and just going through those again.
Played 4 twice. Another 200 hours of my life. There you go. I've played a lot of Atlas games. They're good shit, man. But it's not even my favorite Atlas game. My favorite Atlas game is Catherine. So, go figure that out. Like, I don't make sense.
We can try. Maybe sometime next year. Figuring out Brian.
I would love to hear it. I kind of need that info, and I don't have it. All right, so that's been our pitches. If you somehow stayed with us, if you are more on the right-leaning side, and I didn't piss you off with my "fuck Trump" opening, well, thank you for listening. I can't say I would have done the same. So you were awesome. I'm not feeling as awesome these days, but let's wrap this thing up with what you got going on. It's where we say things that we've got going on. I when I'm not recording after the hype, which we don't do that often, which we're going to try to do more. I've said that every time we've recorded, but we are going to try to do it more. Brock was very unfortunate. He could not make it today because his car shit the bed on him. Poor guy. But we are going to do more of these because Brock wants to be a part of it. So if I'm not doing after the hype, I'm on Binge Buddies, where we are currently reviewing Nightmare on Elm Street. We just finished. What movie did we just finish? 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
5? Yeah. Okay. So we just finished part 5.
There's the preview.
Man, here's the thing. Don't listen to our exasperated because the episodes are very fun. We're having a great time talking about them. The exhaustion is that we have to watch more of them. Nightmare on Elm Street has not been our favorite over at Binge Buddies, but the episodes have been very good because of that. Poor Ryan. I think Ryan thought it was going to go a lot better, and
we'll talk more in our actual series, but I feel like if Nightmare on Elm Street had one of those class like titles, it would be like most potential.
yeah, yes. Oh man, that might have to be a part of our wrap up now to give him that sort of title. Like Jason, man, I'm not sure what he'd be, but he gets shit done, and his movies they might not be great, but they're consistently whatever the hell they are. Whereas Nightmare is just a roller coaster of quality of like some of the best I've ever seen and some of the worst I've ever seen. So listen to Binge Buddies as we dive into whatever the hell is going on with A Nightmare on Elm Street. And then after that, because I'm not on my network and I can talk about it, we're going to do Die Hard. And I've never said that. Joel, don't rat me out when I say that I've never said it anywhere else. But once we finish A Nightmare on Elm Street, we are moving to Die Hard, which is going to be a whole bunch of fun for 3 of them. And then really, really sad for 2 of them.
Nice.
I always liked when I had the prime the pump and dim me expectations before.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
1, 2, 3, phenomenal. Then 4 isn't that bad. 5 though. Whoa. But
It's gonna be a thing.
That. It's gonna be a thing. Joel, what about you? What do you got going on?
Other than this, we got Afterthoughts. As we mentioned before, woefully behind on Dune. It's being worked on.
It is,
we
yes.
are going to have
Prove it.
There you
Prove it.
I will screenshot you where I'm at in the audio, but after
That's
this.
just gonna depress me.
Yeah.
I should jump in on Dune. I think I should jump in on Dune. Let's read it together. Let's do that.
Well, you'd have to
All
actually
about
read it to
reading
read it together.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like the accountability buddy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed Kelly was gonna be accountability buddy, but it's still not going great. So
Or make it a race. Make it a race.
I do have to step it
It
up.
takes
I
a
do.
village.
It really
I have problems with the
does.
whole DeWitt household at this point.
I know.
Look, if I, not a reader, can beat you, la da da, whatever, we can come up with something.
It's incentives. Life's about incentive.
So Afterthoughts and what else?
Super GG Radio, we're heading into year end, so you'll be seeing some of our favorites game eater lists soon. So
Cool. Kelly, do you have anything to plug these days?
Nothing. Just like what Joel said, we have Afterthoughts, and yes, Dune is on its way. We will be doing one on Doctors from Hell, so I'm definitely doing a special episode on that. But other than that, no. I mean, reading at school has been keeping my time pretty occupied too.
now that you mention it, our book list has been pretty bleak.
It really
Since we
has
started
been.
doing
It
this.
really has
Like
been.
Fahrenheit
Go over to, like, Douglas
451,
Adams or
1984.
something like that. Just get or something like that.
Oh, there you go.
I
Douglas
haven't
Adams.
even gotten into the Holocaust
gotten-
with you yet.
I don't want it in the Holocaust.
Yeah,
with
you do. Yeah, you do. You're reading Night. Get over it.
I mean, we haven't even done the Slaughterhouse 5 yet. Like, we got some work to do.
I know. Dude.
This sounds like a
Wow.
great
I've been
knee
doing a whole lot
slappers
of
all
dystopian
around.
society. It's an amazing journey. It's better than what we're making it sound like, but it is kind of it can be heavy. It's heavy, but
Sounds like a bummer.
it's classic literature. It is phenomenal.
Classic literature is a bummer, man.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Les Mis,
Never on
real
that one.
knee slapper. Yeah, oh, for sure. John, plug your stuff.
because it's been really busy, but Demon Days is still my Dungeons and Dragons tabletop actual play show, and it's still a really great listen. And it's got our very own Brian here as a bullywug who screams at the audience. It's all great. And and we're trying to figure out ways to make it do video or not video. We're still figuring things out, but I'm spending some time in research and development mode for the rest of the year, and then hopefully we'll be back in 2025. But still worth a listen up to this point.
Joel and I talked about some research and development. Like, he and I talked about maybe doing another podcast in 2025. We'll see if that happens.
Definitely getting more
Feel good
stuff
about
on
it.
this
We'll see if it happens.
channel, this format, etc.
Yeah, keep an eye on this channel. We have some ideas. Hopefully we have the time to execute those ideas.
Oh yeah.
But I'm feeling pretty good about them. Like, we're gonna start doing some movie reviews. We can try to throw those up every now and then. I'm gonna go see Heretic this weekend. I'm gonna try to do a review after that.
I'm kind of goofing around Saturday mornings with video games.
We got that coming up. We're gonna.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Give it a look. Give it a look. Give it a like. Give it a subscribe. I know I'm supposed to say those things. Makes no sense to me, but apparently if you don't say them, people don't do them. And if you do them and you sound like an idiot, people still do them. So I'm going to be an idiot and say, please do those things. Like and subscribe to us. Share with your friends. Share with your mom. Specifically your mom. Your moms love me.
I want that on a shirt.
Just going to leave it at that. Joel laughs, but your mom loves me.
She does speak very nicely.
I was gonna say, I can imagine.
There it is. Might have been a troublesome friend, but I was still a good friend. But I'm talking about in high school. Still am a friend. Back when your mom knew me. All right. Anything else you want to say as a goodbye?
Really.
No, I'm going to give you a be well. Thank you for listening to my rant in the beginning of this thing. If you stuck with it and you disagreed with me, then you are an awesome person. You're better than me. Yeah. Stay well. Stay sane. Do shit that makes you happy. And leave it there.